Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, August 9, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:20 p.m. Jamaica time. As you can see, we're still watching that code yellow across the northern main development region. That's expected to push out towards the north, that has a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we're still watching that area off the coast of Africa that now has a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days as it pushes off towards the west and northwest. And if we take a look at the infrared wide Atlantic satellite imagery, we can see both entities right here. That code yellow, the clouds definitely diminishing as we speak, doesn't look impressive at all. That's why it has been downgraded back to a code yellow. And we see that area off the coast of Africa, they're trying to get its act together. That's expected to develop within the next 7 days. And if we actually read the latest information from the Hurricane Center about both of these entities, they've stated here about the code yellow that disorganized showers and thunderstorms continue in association with a tropical wave over the central tropical Atlantic. Development of this system appears unlikely during the next couple of days due to surrounding dry air, but some gradual development is possible during the middle part of next week while the system moves northward across the central Atlantic. And we see that they've given the area a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Regarding the other area, they've stated here, a broad area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave is producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms just off the west coast of Africa. Environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of this system, and a tropical depression could form by the middle to latter portion of next week, while moving west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. Locally heavy rainfall is possible Sunday and Monday across portions of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we see that they've given the area a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 60% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the close-up right here, we can see all of the convection regarding the system. Not really organized right now, just some pockets of thunderstorms here and there in the reds and blacks, especially still on the African mainland for sure. We'll see how it actually looks in the next 7 days. Either way, in terms of the Euro ensemble spaghetti model, we see that it takes the system on a northwestward track, then pushes off towards the west in line with the Leeward Islands, and then it starts to take more of a northward jog to the north of the Leeward Islands, and we see that the strength has even increased. We see more blues, then we start to see more greens into the yellows and oranges that could represent maybe tropical storm if not hurricane status. And it's not only the Euro ensembles but even the GFS spaghetti model plus showing something similar, so we definitely have some consensus, some agreement on both models that the system should definitely be passing to the north of the Caribbean for sure. And regarding the intensity models, we can definitely see that the system is expected to eventually make it up intertropical storm status in the greens right here, anywhere from 35 to almost 65 knots represents tropical storm status, and we see that by around the next 3 to 4 days it's definitely going to be up there in tropical storm territory, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Even the supercomputer models right here are confirming where the system should be by the end of the next 7 days. This map from the ERA and this map from the GFS are both valid for 12Z on Saturday, August 16. This is about 7 a.m. and as you can see, the Euro has the system right up in here, just to the north of the Leeward Islands, just to the north of the Lesser Antilles in general. We see a lot of the convection and heavy rainfall on the eastern side as usual, nothing new. The GFS has it a bit more to the east of where the Euro has it, a bit stronger on the GFS, and matter we see tighter circulation with the black contour lines. Even the pressure definitely lower on the Euro, it's 1002 millibars, so that would make it a tropical storm. The GFS 965 millibars, so that would definitely make it somewhere up there in intense hurricane status. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly what unfolds, and I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. We know that the next name on the list is Erin. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have that ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending most of these entities from east to west. We see a broken orange line right here to the southwest of Jamaica associated with a trough. Numerous troughs across the eastern Gulf and Florida. And we see the tropical wave right in here that the hurricane center is watching for a low chance of development. The other tropical wave right here off the coast of Africa that the hurricane center is watching for a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the wide Atlantic, we can see the clouds associated with the trough definitely bring some overcast skies, if not some thunderstorms, to portion of the northeastern Gulf, the northern Bahamas, southeastern US, and Florida as we speak. We can also see clouds associated with more than likely a tropical wave right down in here, associated with what was left back from the intertropical convergence zone, pushing into portion of the Windward Islands as we speak. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago definitely getting on some amount of bad weather, and that should continue tonight. We can see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave that the hurricane center is watching for a low chance of development, and the clouds associated with the other tropical wave, the medium chance one, that has a high chance of development the more it pushes off towards the west northwest. We will be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, August 9, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some northern and western parishes on Saturday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 3:35 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page, Weather Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page, Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page, Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page, Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at around 3:35 p.m., we definitely saw the clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, to sections of Hanover and St. James right over here, while the rest of the island definitely sunny, if not partly cloudy for the most part. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images right here before we lost sunlight, we can make out the clouds definitely bring the overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, to sections of Hanover, some of it even spilling into sections of Westmoreland, St. James, maybe even Western Trelawney, getting in on some of the action. And look at that, some of the activity even by the late afternoon hours spilling into sections of St. Anne, maybe even Trelawney for sure. And then we had some high clouds streaking from the thunderstorms that took place across southeastern Cuba today, streaking down into portion of northern Jamaica. And I don't want you to think that north coast gotten on any crazy rainfall when you see these blues and greens. All of this is some upper level clouds being sheared off, pushed down into Jamaica from what took place across Cuba. But we can definitely see that we definitely had some isolated thunder showers across sections of St. James for sure. Wherever you see the blues into the greens, yellows, oranges, and even the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, associated with those cumulonimbus clouds across section of St. James and Hanover this afternoon. And if we take a look at the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, this was at around 1:52 p.m. As you can see, one individual walking on the bridge right here. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at that time. Definitely sunny and windy for the most part. Rear Cobra definitely chilling for the time being. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the CIMH, that's the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, is confirming where we indeed had that rainfall today across the island, especially across some northern and western parishes. We're talking about Hanover, St. James, parts of Trelawney, parts of St. Anne for sure. And we have just a few comments right here from some of our followers on our Instagram page. They're confirming what the weather was like in their area today. We have Marlon _ one God _ stating place hot weather Jamaica. That's in northern Clarendon. We have one Ryan _ stating got some rain in my area in Hanover. And I'm jealous, Ryan. Ryan, you get rainfall every day. Must be nice. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let us reload the very latest Jamaican Doppler radar, the very latest Cuban Doppler radar, and the very latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the very latest Cayman radar to confirm what's happening right now. Alright, so the latest infrared satellite image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 22:45 UTC, which when calculated, that is around, hold on, let me see, is it actually that? No, there we go, 23:35 UTC. So I was looking at the wrong one. 23:35 UTC. And when calculated, that is around 6:35 p.m. So this just came out. That's about 8 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:43 p.m. right now. As you can see, just some leftover clouds from what took place across southeastern Cuba today, bringing some overcast skies section of some northern parishes, some western parishes too. While the isolated thunder shower activity that affected portions of Hanover and St. James today is now offshore out to sea to the west of us. And if we take a look at the latest Doppler radar right here, this is from 6:31. As you can see, 23:31 UTC is actually 6:31, and you can actually make out that rainfall across southeastern Cuba. Some of the cloud toss being sheared off towards the south, but not far enough to bring rainfall on across Jamaica. But we saw the clouds for sure. No rainfall in these clouds at all. But we can definitely see that moderate to slightly heavy rainfall just to the west of Hanover right over here to confirm what we just saw on the satellite imagery. Anywhere you see the sparkling white dots, that's where you know that there's actually some amount of rainfall taking place. The Cuban Doppler radar looks like it glitched out today. No problem, we have the Jamaican Doppler radar to use. This glitched out at 8:40 a.m. Jamaica time. Not going to be looking at that. The Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar confirming that rainfall across southeastern Cuba. We see the greens into the blues, moderate to some slightly, light rainfall pushing off towards the south with that upper level wind shear. Definitely bring those cloud tops over us for sure. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, showing some decent rainfall that took place across central Cuba today. The blues into the greens, even to the yellows represent some heavy rainfall. And we can definitely see that rainfall just to the west of Westmoreland to confirm what we saw on the Jamaican Doppler radar and the infrared for sure. Some isolated showers to the south of the Cayman Islands as well. Taking a look at what's happening right now, pleased to see that the Crossroads cam is back. This is my favorite cam to look at. I like to see the hills of St. Andrew, and I like to see the hustling and bustling busy halfway tree road for sure. As you can see, not much is taking place. All right, well, this was at about 5:56. Let's look at the live camera. There we go, 6:46 p.m. As you can see, you have people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place. The hills looking to clear out for sure. And that should be the order of the evening. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place at all. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 28 degrees. Well, 4 a.m. on Sunday. Well, look at that. It's actually 4 a.m. and temperatures don't even look like they're going down a bit at all. So I'm guessing the temperatures are going to remain the same. Seems like it's quite hot to me. Either way, in terms of the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellows. That represents what we see here on the queue on the right. That's the zeros and the ones. That represents average to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature. And we know the normal temperature for the month of August across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that is around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32.8 to 33.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. And we have at least one maintenance outage advisory here from my JPS Online's Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on, hold up, seems to be an error right here. It's saying Saturday, August 10. I wonder if they made a mistake and they were supposed to say Sunday, August 10. Because as you can see right here, it's Saturday, August 9. So I don't know if they made a mistake. Either way, we see Cane Heap, Scotts Hall, Clark Castle, Mount Regale, Top Leinster, Bottom Leinster, Gibbs Hill in the parish of St. Mary from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you reside in any of these areas and you got the power outage today, let me know. If not, it's definitely done for tomorrow, which is Sunday, August 10. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty. And put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map. We know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those rays. And we can see the abundance of dry air extending all the way from Africa across the main development region. We see some dry air across the Caribbean as well into the yellows. And we also see some moist air. Wherever we have the blues, that's where you know the air is moist. So you notice wherever we have the moist air, that's where we have more clouds. And that's what we want. We want more moisture so that we get more clouds, so that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast, a crazy plume of Saharan dust is actually on the way. We can see it right here, making it into the Eastern Caribbean by August 12, and then eventually pushing from east to west, so it could make it to the Jamaica area by, if not late August 13, maybe August 14. So some Saharan dust is definitely coming, and you know that it is a vigorous plume because of the oranges and the pinks in there for sure. So we can definitely see some very hazy skies for us, not to mention it triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So get ready for the Saharan dust. It is definitely coming later next week. But for the next 3 days, as we head into August 10, 11, and 12, we can clearly see Jamaica right here, not really getting in on much. Just some slight Saharan dust on August 10. August 11, we should be in the clear. August 12, not really much of anything. But clearly by August, if not 13 or 14, the Saharan dust is definitely going to be back in a full swing. So we just hope that you all have your meds handy. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow across the Caribbean, You can clearly see the blues into the dark blues and purples. That represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 to 2 meter wave heights, like what we see here on the key on the bottom right. And that's because of the winds that are expected across the Caribbean. We see more of an easterly flow across the entire Caribbean, averaging anywhere from 10 to 15 up to 20 knot winds in the greens, maybe even gusting up to 25 knots in the yellows just here to the north of Colombia. But regarding Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland, 0.8 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of St. Thomas, 1.1 meter wave height. To the north of St. Anne, 0.7 of a meter wave height. To the south of Manchester, 0.5 of a meter wave height. 0.6 of a meter wave height expected to the north of Hanover, while 0.5 of a meter wave height expected to the south of Westmoreland. And that's because of the easterly winds that are expected across the island tomorrow. We see it averaging 8 knots right here to the north of Portland, 11 knots to the north of St. Anne, 11 knots to the north of Hanover. To the south of St. Thomas, 12 knot winds. Southern Clarendon, 13 knot winds. South of St. Elizabeth, 14 knot winds. And we also see that we have little to no wind across sections of some central and western parishes. Wherever we have the blues, that's where we have the 0 to the 5 knot winds. And wherever we have the weakest wind, that's where we usually have all of the daytime heating rainfall taking place. All of those low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And the upper-level winds seem to be coming in from the east tomorrow. So that could definitely favor some of these cloud tops being sheared off to the west or even across section of some southwestern parishes. Either way, in terms of the actual rainfall forecast maps, both maps right here from the year and the GFS, they didn't actually show anything for the morning, but we saw something in the early morning hours. But not necessarily when the sun comes up, but it's in the afternoon that we actually see some crazy rainfall, especially on the GFS here. If this actually comes to fruition, then the western end of the island could be in trouble. Maybe some freak storms, if not some isolated flash flooding. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And we see the blues into the greens, even into the yellows that represent some crazy rainfall, anywhere from a millimeter all the way up to maybe 8, 9. It could definitely be more than that for sure. Keep in mind that these are the 1 hour totals. And then by around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 5 p.m. Jamaica time. Don't really see much on the Euro, but it's the GFS that has me concerned. Look at the GFS showing the rainfall, especially across the southwestern end. Westmoreland, especially St. Elizabeth, and St. Elizabeth is susceptible to freak storms. Wouldn't be surprised if they get in on any of that, or some crazy lightning storms down there. Some of the activity spilling into section of Manchester and Clarendon. If this actually comes to fruition, which I doubt, because did the surface map even show anything affecting us? Maybe a trough to the southwest of us, but I don't really see much that could be causing such crazy weather. But we'll see if the GFS is actually right. They're not 100% accurate, but let's see if it actually takes place. Either way, look out for some rainfall, especially across section of Kingston, St. Andrew, section of St. Catherine, Clarendon, maybe St. Anne, Trelawney, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland. Look out for that afternoon rainfall, so get that laundry done early. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the next 24 hours. These maps from the year and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that are going to be picking up the rainfall. We're talking about the eastern, well, this mainly central western parishes. Don't even want to say eastern, because maybe St. Thomas and Portland won't even get in on any of the action. You are going up to at least 0.43 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going up to at least 1.95 inches of rainfall, especially in the southwest, and that's because of the rainfall that's expected tomorrow in St. Elizabeth. And that's crazy if it actually comes to fruition. And whatever happens, we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of August, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive close to 100 millimeters of rainfall during the month. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of August or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandyclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours, that stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Sunday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Monday, and we know that 12Z on Monday is actually 7 a.m. Don't really see much of anything on the Euro for Monday morning, but let's look what Monday afternoon is bringing. We see some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes, even some far eastern parishes getting on some of the action. What does the GFS show? GFS doesn't really show much of anything on land. We see some isolated showers to our southwest and to our northeast. And then on Monday afternoon, we see that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes, just like what the Euro was showing. Let us see what Tuesday morning is showing. On Tuesday morning, rainfall to the southwest of us. Tuesday afternoon, rainfall across some central parishes. What does the GFS show? On Tuesday morning, rainfall across the waters to our south and southwest. Tuesday afternoon, we see some rainfall across the far western end of the island. What do we see on Wednesday morning? On Wednesday morning, not really seeing much of anything across Jamaica. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes on the Euro. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, nothing. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Thursday morning? Thursday morning, maybe some isolated showers in the far eastern end of the island. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some central and eastern parishes. And we also see possible future rain starting to pop up on our neck of the woods right here just to the northeast of the Caribbean. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, rainfall to our north and east. Thursday afternoon, we start to see some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, and we start to see the GFS also showing future possible rain, tropical storm, if not hurricane, just to the northeast of the Caribbean. Let us see what Friday morning shows. On Friday morning, maybe some rainfall across the far eastern end of Jamaica. On Friday afternoon, we see some rainfall in the greens across sections of some southern and western parishes. Definitely seeing that system just to the north of the Lesser Antilles now. Then at the end of the one, John 68 hours, just like what we showed earlier. Not really seeing much across Jamaica, but we still see that area, possible tropical storm Erin, just to the north of the Lesser Antilles. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall to our southwest on the eastern end of the island. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. And just like the Euro, we're stopping it at the end of the one, John 68 hours. And we can also see future tropical storm, if not hurricane Erin, right here to the north of the Lesser Antilles for sure. Very interesting times ahead. And regarding the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS, it's making sense that we're seeing a lot of rainfall out here in the waters of the Atlantic where future tropical storm Erin should be for sure. That's representing the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. That represents what we see here on the key on the right. Anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 5 inches of rainfall out to sea, but that's just going to be affecting the fishes, if not the ships. We also see that rainfall total expected for northern South America as well. Some of it also affecting portions of Florida up here to the north. And we also see that the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about these forecasts. So those areas that are shaded in dark reds, purples into the pinks, definitely could get into some isolated flash flooding for sure. While other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds, at least up to an inch or less of rainfall, like majority of the Greater Antilles into the Lesser Antilles, that's the rainfall amount that we should be receiving over the next 7 days. And regarding Jamaica's rainfall total for the next 7 days, the Euro and the GFS models definitely showing something completely different. The Euro a bit more conservative about the rainfall that's expected over the next 7 days. We see more blues into the greens. That represents anywhere from 1 millimeter all the way up to at least 20, maybe 25 millimeters at most. That's at least an inch over the next 7 days. The GFS is definitely going bonkers over the next 7 days, and we know that most of this rainfall, especially across the southwestern end, is what's expected tomorrow. Take that forecast with a grain of salt. It might happen, especially and not well, it might not happen, especially considering that the Euro isn't showing it, but we see that both of them are showing rainfall tomorrow, so we'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we see the contrast. The GFS showing more rainfall than the Euro. We'll see exactly what happens, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Taking a look at what's happening across the rest of the Atlantic, we can definitely see that rainfall pushing into section of the Windward Islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago getting some decent rainfall. Trough bringing some rainfall to section of the northern Bahamas, Florida, the southeastern United States. And if we take a look at the rest of the basin in terms of the Doppler radar imagery, let's see what's happening near Puerto Rico. Alright, so looking down near Puerto Rico, we can actually see some of the greens that represent some moderate rainfall in and around Puerto Rico, affecting the Leeward Islands, especially St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda. We see, if we load these images from earlier today, and we definitely had some moderate to heavy rainfall, especially across western Puerto Rico for sure. And if we look at the Barbados radar, we can make out some of the moisture already pushing into Barbados. We see a lot of it to the south of there, pushing from east-west towards Trinidad and Tobago. Section of St. Lucia, Martinique already been getting in on some amount of rainfall, and some more definitely expected. The wide of Doppler radar images showing some of the rainfall that took place today across sections of Florida, section of Cuba, western Cuba, the Yucatan, northern Guatemala, Belize, section of Honduras getting in on some of the action. We also see some of the rainfall across section of Colombia, sections of northwestern Venezuela, eastern Venezuela as well, and sections of the Windward Islands associated with that moisture pool. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Sunday. And we see the greens into the yellows into the oranges, and the reds represents what we see here on the key on the right. Anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall up to an inch of rainfall definitely expected for areas such as Florida, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, section of the Bahamas, section of Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Leeward Islands all the way down to Guadeloupe, Dominica, sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, section of Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, sections of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador getting in some of the action as well. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with this forecast for sure. But regarding what's happening across the rest of the world, the Eastern Pacific right here, showing that tropical storm Henriette has been resurrected. We spoke about this yesterday. It was a post-tropical cyclone yesterday, but now it's back to a tropical storm, and we have Ivo just to the east of there still. And if we take a look at the infrared, we see Henriette right here still holding on to dear life, and we see Ivo right here just to the west of Mexico. And if we take a look at the latest statistics regarding Henriette, still packing maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. We know that anywhere from 39 to 73 miles per hour winds is classified as a tropical storm. So it's definitely a low-end tropical storm, closer to tropical depression status than to hurricane status. And it's expected to continue pushing off towards the northwest. As of right now, it is moving west-northwesterly at 16 miles per hour, clearly going to be passing to the north of the Hawaiian Islands. Regarding tropical storm Ivo, packing maximum sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. So that makes Ivo almost medium range tropical storm, right there in the smack dab in the middle of tropical storm status. Moving to the west right now at 7 miles per hour. Then it's expected to make a northward jog maybe to the west northwest, and then downgrading back to a tropical depression by late on Sunday into Monday, possibly dissipating by late Monday. Regarding what's happening on the western Pacific side of things, we're still watching tropical storm Podul. If I'm not butchering that storm's name, we can see the clouds associated with it right here on the infrared. For reference, we have the Philippines over here, we have Taiwan, we have China. We know that we have to highlight these areas because we have a lot of friends or relatives who live or work in these areas. Even Japan over here, we have tropical storm Podul right in here, pushing off towards west. As of right now, it is packing maximum sustained winds of 55 knots. So it is right up in there and smack them in the middle of tropical storm status. Over this side of the world, they use knots, not miles per hour. Anywhere from 34 knots to 64 knots is considered a tropical storm. So if it has 55 knot winds right now, it's definitely in the middle of tropical storm status. Expected to make it up to 70 knot winds by the 11th of August. So definitely coming into category 1 hurricane status for sure over there. They don't call them hurricanes, they call them typhoons. Pushing off towards the west, then by around the 12th into the 13th of August, pushing more so to the north, more of a west-northwestern track, maybe, affecting the northern portion of Taiwan, also affecting the eastern portions of China. But we see that it's definitely downgrading in intensity. 70 knots, 65 knots, 55, 45. So it's going to be back to a tropical storm before it actually affects land. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with whatever it does. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.